segment, which is hashtag BGOMG.
Yes.
This basically, where if you can reply with your own on Twitter or whatever, and we'll give our handles and stuff later. But you've got hashtag board game. Oh my God. So BGOMG. The first one we're going to start off with is people that don't narrate their turns. And yeah, we were just talking about card games and stuff, and you see this all the time. They just lay things down. They move your cards around. They put their cards in the discard pile, or they start removing tokens. And we're gonna more transition this into board games rather than card games, right? So like, especially in board games with people that you don't know, they come first into your group, or you're going to like Gen Con or a convention or just to a comic shop. You sit down, they do their turn, they don't tell you what you're doing. I mean, does that irritate you?
Well, I'm not in their head. I'm not a mind reader. Yeah, I mean, it's it helps to announce. I mean, I do it because I make mistakes all the time. I need someone else to either catch it or whatever. I mean, it's human error is there. If you just assume you're right, and maybe you're cheating someone unintentionally.
Right. Yeah. Because you might think this card does this one thing, and you're like, hold on, somebody else might be like, hold on, that sounds crazy. Let me read that. And you're like, no, that only does it with the blue cards.
Right.
Not the blue, yellow, and green.
Right.
Yeah. So I think this is pretty important. And I've seen this a lot where, especially with people who aren't in your group, right? They'll sit down and you don't know who they are. If we play a game at a convention or a comic shop or whatever, and they just start doing their stuff. And I'm not mean about it. I was just like, hey, can you just narrate what you're doing? Because, even like back in like card game days, Magic and stuff, people would just start flipping cards out because there was one combo where they would just mill their deck over and over.
Right.
And you're like, what are you doing? And you're like, I want to be involved in this. I'm playing this game as well.
Well, I mean, especially, essentially with card games, but I mean, board games also had this also. Is there a response window here?
That's true, yeah. Like, you got to hold up for a sec because I can interrupt you at any time.
Yes.
Yeah, just because you played that doesn't mean it's going through.
Yeah, thanks for showing me what your next 4 moves are, but on this move back here, I'm doing this.
And they get mad.
Yeah.
Like, you should have stopped them and been like, hey, I see what you're going to do.
Yes.
I'm going to stop you now. Yeah, it's just irritating. I think, and the other thing is, like, I watch a lot of, games online where people are doing it live and stuff, and I think that helps. Because it helps the viewer also see what you're doing as well.
True.
And this is, mini podcast and video cast or whatever. It's game demos and stuff people are playing. Like, sometimes they'll just do their thing. It's more like live stuff, but yeah. Or even if you're just watching somebody play, it just really helps. It engages other people too. So if people are doing this a lot at a table, at a comic shop or a board game, cafe or something, people are talking about their turns and what they're doing and stuff, people are going to walk over and listen to that. Mm-hmm. It's boring to go over and watch people just shift cards around and move their meeple on a track and stuff.
Well, maybe it's a game you don't know and you want to learn it. You ain't learning nothing by 4 dudes being silent and not telling what they're, telling you what they're doing and how the game actually plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you start asking stuff and then you usually end up looking like an idiot because you didn't have a clue to begin with and you didn't know exactly what they were doing. But I mean, I don't know. It's always been my etiquette. Announce what it is, and if the person's doing it back to me, always give a yep, right.
Yeah.
Something just to
acknowledge
that you heard them.
And taking this to the next level, this will make you a better tournament player too.
Yes.
Because, man, there are so many people that go into tournaments and they're just, I mean, I understand it's a social thing, right? So people don't feel like they are they're socially awkward. They don't want to talk very much, but it is very key to go to a tournament and discuss and tell people what you're doing. Now, it could bite you, right? Because you could be doing something out of order that you're just used to doing, and maybe it's your first tournament of that game, and then people are like, judge, yes, this guy took this before he did this. Nitpicky people, right? But I think you're going to have less repercussions from discussing and narrating what you're doing than you would if you didn't.
Well, especially in tournament play, you get too far into it, then they start getting into these crazy rules where that's unfixable, blah, 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 game warning, disqualification. Exactly. So, I mean, it can really burn you if you don't know. Unfortunately, you got to know them rules going into a tournament, but
yeah,
it's just part of the game. That's a learning curve on that. So,
yep.